Got that metronome going, so you know it's going to be good. Is that a guitar? Right in the middle of piccolo practice. No! Get that piccolo practice in. Just join me with some scales. Hey, Chopin enthusiast. Hey, Dylan. Hang on, I'm gonna get rid of the sound from the computer because I have to get the sound from the keyboard anyway because I got my metronome going. All right, here we go, D flat. Yeah, how does it look so smooth? Let's talk about looking smooth. So I'm dropping my thumb. Hey, Chirag. Metronome work, let's go. I'm dropping my thumb. I'm keeping a steady height. I'm not really dropping up and down a lot like this, right? A lot of people play scales like that, right? You probably see this a lot, right? Is this Hanon? No, this is 4-octave major scales. So I'm gonna drop my thumb so I can keep it smooth. Yes, I'm staring right at you, Massive, right into your soul. You need to practice. That's what this is telling you. Let's go a little faster. We'll go up to 130. What in the world do you mean you can't find a consistent fingering? Look it up. There's solid fingerings for every single black key scale. That is the most bizarre excuse I've ever heard. Sorry, I'm not trying to super throw you under the bus, but come on, dude, you can do better. Once Aurora, always Aurora high. You practice 1 minute? Nice. Thank you. Can I do Rushy? Sure. There you go, that's the real reason. It's okay, just be honest, Chopin enthusiast. Sure, we'll do Rushy. That's what everyone does. Love Like You next from Steven Universe. Beethoven, we can do all that stuff, but we're gonna do some more scales. Talking is a good thing. Here, we'll go faster. I'm just getting a little... Focusing on breathing. Make sure those hands are perfectly lined up with that metronome. Everything is relaxed. Scales 2 octaves apart? Yeah, that's possible. E flat major, yep. Yeah, this is E flat major. Hey, Monica. You're fine, Chirag. Triplets? Sixteenths. There we go. Gets like 1K watching because it's a girl. New setup is better. Oh, thank you, Monica. What key can I play Billie Jean? We can do Billie Jean. This is E major. We'll take a break from the metronome in a second, because I realize we have some casual. We got some casual watchers too. So again, we're 6 minutes in and we've just done C, D flat D, E flat E. That's it. Tips on coming up with catchy melodies. That's where our band rehearsals always fall. Don't come up with content during band rehearsal unless you guys are all savants and that's just what you love to do. Just come in with a vision. Go, hey, these are the 5 songs we're practicing. 2 of these are covers and then 3 of these are ones. There's a giveaway screen. Yeah, exactly. It's bots too, therapists. It's not entirely stuff like that. La Campanelle, really difficult to know. Do original stuff? Okay, so here's the thing. You still want to organize your rehearsal in a way that give 1 bill. You got to say the magic word and then I'll give you 1 billion. If you're doing an original rehearsal, the trick is to actually, and this is true of any meeting. Guys, if you go into a meeting hoping that someone else is going to set the agenda and make things work, you're just wasting time. And that's true of rehearsals. That's true of board meetings. That's true of anything. So you want to set the agenda. What is setting the agenda if you're going to do original music? Well, you walk in with like 5 different ideas and you go, hey, these are my ideas. We could do these, but if you guys have other ideas, we can do those instead. It's a really, really great way of doing it. Winter by Vivaldi. We got Diva La Vida. Oh, Felipe, thanks for asking. The concert was good. All right, we'll get to some of these. Man, I can't even get through a little practice session. You guys want all the goods. You don't want to hear scales? Unbelievable. Don't you just want to hear some beautiful scales? All right, we'll do some winter. Fly to the Bumblebee. You guys want Fly to the Bumblebee? Boringest song ever. I'm just kidding. If you like Fly to the Bumblebee, no problem there. Okay, so we've got, the beginning is all groups of 4, so. So this is actually pretty easy to play fast right away. Then it's 5 here. And then 3, 5, 5. Oh, yeah. And then we got the same idea in a different place. There you go. So the main melody, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da. Okay, all right, we got it. And then okay, there's no wonder people play that so fast. Please been asking for 5 minutes. Unbelievable. 5 minutes you've been asking and I haven't played exactly what you want. You know what? That is an injustice. That's a true injustice. Blinding Lights, massive. Tanner, Seven Nation Army, Rush E, Temptation. What should I find? Okay. Weenus, I will give you exactly the goods. Remember me, though I had to say goodbye. Let me give you the goods on the scales. So, set your metronome. If you're just starting out doing this, set it at like 80. No joke. This is what you're going to do. Pick a scale. Doesn't matter what it is. Oh, okay. I'll tell you about the concert in just a second. All right. Pick a scale. Quarter notes. At least 2 octaves, but if you can do 4, do 4. We'll just do 2, so we don't take it the whole time. The goal is perfect alignment of the hands and the metronome and perfect relaxation. Then 8ths. 2 octaves, 3 octaves, 4 octaves, up to you. I like 4. Then triplets. And now, 16ths. If you're somebody who's a little messy with your playing and you're not that great at the piano yet, no shame here, no offense to anybody. This one thing, all 12 scales, at one metronome setting, quarter notes, eighths, triplets, sixteenths, as intentional as possible, control your breathing, relaxed, hands lined up. I guarantee you, months from now, you're going to just blow everybody away. You're absolutely going to blow her away. Of course, Tanner, I remember you. Felipe, I was doing rock and roll. So I had 3 keyboards because one was a piano. One was an organ, you know, for like... And then one was a synthesizer, right? Something like that. Yeah, Weenus, anytime. I can't remember if you got on the Discord. If you hop on the Discord, that would... Chopin enthusiasts, there's no such thing as taking up piano too late. You're younger than one of my best friends started bass, and he's one of literally the best bass players I know. He's probably, I don't know, top 10 bass players in Chicago, one of, you know, America's biggest cities. There is a Discord. Hang on, I can put the link. It's gonna take me 2 seconds. Nice keyboard, bro. Yeah, it is. I like the FP90. It's a good keyboard. Let me put the link in the chat. Otherwise, you can find it on the bio of it. Then we'll do some more. We'll do a couple more covers. We'll do some other stuff. I think some people think that this is a... I think some people forget that this is not a cover channel. Like, I'm not just here to do requests. I'm here to have a conversation and for us to enjoy and hang out and do music together. This is more a personality channel than a request channel. I hate to tell people, but it's true. Nothing wrong with having a basic keyboard. There we go. Pinned. Beautiful. Piano is really hard to get good at? No, not at that level of bass, Chopin enthusiast. If you want to get that good at bass, it takes a lot of time too. Which personality? Mark Zuckerberg? Is that a personality? I didn't know that that was a personality. I like martial arts now. Don't you know that I'm a real human? When I play broken chords, my hands feel no stress versus playing just simple chords in succession like C, A minor, F, G. I know exactly what the deal is, Chirag. So when you play one note at a time, you're adjusting your wrist and you're adjusting where your fingers are placing and how they're placed. When you're playing them all at once, my guess is if you really looked at your hand, you'd notice some tension hiding there. Like your fingers would be popping up and all sorts of things. Chopin enthusiast, take this. Don't take this the wrong way. You are still quite young, and so a year makes a huge difference. Did I beat Elon? He never got in the ring. If he got in the ring, yeah, it would have been over. I started when I was 13. Is it good? Oh. No. Right now it's really funny. So my career is really bifurcated. I have been a side guy for bands basically ever since college, and that has done a ton of touring. I've played for thousands of people. My own original music, I used to prioritize heavily in college, and then my own personal career, I kind of put on the back burner after college because I had a bunch of kids and needed to make some money. Chopin enthusiasts, you can definitely get some serious work done and really grow this year. Again, this is the way I would put it. Starting earlier helps, but it's not necessary. That's the way that I would really put it. What's my opinion about Nord keyboards? I wanted to really say, yeah, 13 is a good, guys. Any age is okay to start. Let me put it this way, because there's a lot of anxiety that comes from people with what age you start at. I would really not worry about what age you start at. Just know if it's important to you, just keep on working on it. So let's talk through this. So if you are starting early, and I would say anything before 8 or 9 for piano is probably early, right? If you start early, and maybe you're like 5, you're going to learn all these skills that are super, super cool, and you can build upon them, and that's an advantage. But what are the disadvantages? No, I didn't move. I moved where my keyboard is because I keep wanting to film. So you see how I got the camera above? I'm going to try to film a comprehensive guide to piano, but whew, it's just a lot. So if you start early, you have all this extra time. You got time to develop the skills, but if you learn bad habits, if you develop a hate relationship with your instrument, all bad. Really, really bad. On the other hand, if you start later, you can be really intentional with what you're doing. You can start from a place of love, and you can really have enough mental comprehension that you can kind of have a back and forth with your teacher and whoever you're working with to then make sure that you're learning good habits and you're really getting it. How long did it take you to learn all these cool piano skills? I would say I was making up stuff and having a good time at the piano by the time I was 14, so that would be 7 years. And then I was really cruising on piano after college. So that would be right around when I was like 23 or 4. I feel like I really knew what I was doing. So that would be almost 20 years. I hope that's not too demotivating because I feel like I did a lot of stuff wrong for a while. And I don't think, take this with a grain of salt because you guys are going to get really pissed when I say this. I don't think I'm actually that talented at music compared to other people I have been around. Okay, I wonder if the person who wanted to know advice for winter is still in the chat because I would love to try out a little bit of winter and talk through some ideas. I'm guessing that that's not the big one. What did I do wrong? A ton of stuff. I don't think we have all day to talk about it. Okay. You're 5 years old? You do not type like a 5-year-old. Are you voice chatting? Like, my 9-year-old doesn't write with that good of grammar. You got proper punctuation and everything. Zombie from the Cranberries? Yeah, we could probably get into that at some point. Do you think Chopin would have been into ska? I think you would be shocked at what classical composers probably were into when they were alive and what was popular but wasn't recorded. And then I think we would all be shocked about what they'd be into now. Bach would probably be super into Kendrick. Chopin would probably love Chapel Roan. Like, these are just guesses, but I think they're pretty spot on. Super Smash Brothers main theme? Sure, we can mess around with it. Dirt Man? What is that? Keep a little. Yes, I have a little bit of brain rot. I probably spend too much time on the interwebs, but that's kind of probably obvious. Okay, Chopin enthusiast, you're asking about what main mistakes I made. I would put my main mistakes under two main categories. The first is breakdown, Hungarian dance. Okay, all right, hold on. Therapist, you were asking, is it possible for me to learn play Beethoven's third movement of Moonlight? Yeah, absolutely. What is breakdown? I like that, Roy Glickman. That really wasn't my mistake. I loved other styles of music. I grew up in a time period, and I think you probably will resonate with this, but the younger people will not get this. There was no YouTube. There was no other types of teaching styles other than classical. So if I wanted to learn piano, I had to learn classical. And then when I got a little bit older, there were some jazz teachers around. So I started taking jazz from there. I would say my biggest absolute number one mistake was being far too literal when playing music. The sound coming out and that being pleasing and communicative is way, way more important than anything else that you're doing, really. So, so that's what I would say. All right, hold on. We're in a video game mood, I see. So let's see what we can do about this. Yeah, Chopin enthusiasts, you're doing good. If you started with jazz, I don't think I ever heard that you started with jazz and then got into classical. Yeah, classical, it is hard to get into classical from anything else. Can I play? Oh, you wanted Zombie, right? We'll get to Zombie, don't worry. What is it? Ba-da-ba-ba. Page turn killed me there. Yeah. All right. Rushy. You gotta pick a different style if we're gonna do Rushy again. Zombie, 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 eh. As long as it isn't baby music. What are you talking about? Hey, Baby Shark is straight fire. I wouldn't say that that's... I'm way on... Brahms Waltz, Opus 39, number 1? Sure. I am definitely way more on the side that every... This is my personal standpoint, which is every... Oh, thanks. Baby Shark, what would adult shark sound like? Oh, boy. All right, you want some adult shark? Here we go. I should be more familiar with Brahms waltzes than I am. I'm very sad to say that I don't think I've ever actually worked on a single Brahms waltz. No. Lie down and go to sleep. Yeah, you can throw out a request. I'm kind of going back and forth between things. Just having some fun, messing around. We're going to do this Brahms Waltz in a second. Undertale song. We can do an Undertale song. Everybody's liking the Mortal Kombat main theme. We could get into that. I do need to jump into this discussion. So here's what I would say. In many ways, both of you guys are right, arguing about creativity and classical versus jazz. So what do I mean by that? This is what I mean by that. Roy, life hit hard. Exactly. Life does hit hard as an adult shark. Roy is correct that in the current state of classical music is made extremely brittle creatively if you're in the mainstream classical movement because of the academic nature of classical music. Basically, the funding structure and the university structure and the way it's taught is extremely strict and extremely rejecting of anything that's actually new ideas, anything that creative, to the point where, let's say you're in school and you want to improvise your own coda for one of the classical concertos. That should be 100% allowed. That is the original tradition of doing concertos. Most likely they're going to tell you no. Because why would you? There's all these great, cadenzas already written. And so I would say classical music today is less creative than jazz. But actually, to be honest, I think in many ways jazz right now is going through the same atrophy as classical music was in the past. And that is because of similar things. It's becoming academized. I had so many jazz professors going like, oh, make sure you avoid the root when you play jazz. It's all about the third and the seventh and the color notes, right? And you're like, okay, that sounds all right. But guess who loved roots? Charlie Parker. Guess who else loved roots? Duke Ellington. Guess who else loved roots? Bill Evans. Like, when we put stuff in boxes so we can understand it, we kind of kill it. It's kind of like taxidermy or preserving anything, right? If you want to preserve something, you kind of have to kill it first so that you can keep it in one form to then go through there. So rock and roll is doing the same thing right now. Like, and this is the life cycle of genres, unfortunately, is we get to the point where we're not willing to say Imagine Dragons is rock, right? We're not willing to say that certain Billie Eilish albums are rock anymore because rock is too precious, right? That doesn't sound like Led Zeppelin to me. Well, guess what? You just killed rock. Rock is dead now. That's basically literally what happens. So, interesting. That's an interesting definition. My teacher says it's called classical because it covers all the basic techniques, but maybe that's an excuse for me to keep playing easy Beethoven pieces. That's funny. I like smashing rocks together and call it music. I like that too. I like that idea a lot. You should play some of the experimental pieces by, oh, why am I forgetting his name? He wrote a book of pieces, and one of the pieces literally was go out into the woods, not eat for a week, and then come back after not speaking and not eating for a week and utter the first sound. There's your song. I love those pieces. They're awesome. I love stuff like that. Anyway, what does this all mean? It means that you can be creative in any genre, any style, on any instrument, doing anything, but you have to avoid making up all of these artificial boundaries. Now, does that mean there aren't boundaries and there aren't rules? Of course not. If you just go sit down and you're like, it's probably not going to sound good. So you need some level of structure. It's funny that you mentioned Arnold Schoenberg. That dude is super musical if you actually pay attention. Yeah, and that's fun too. You can totally do that. Exactly. No, and I totally agree with you, Mazdaf. I understand the feeling from where Roy's, so this is what I would say. I understand the feeling from where Roy's coming from, but I fundamentally more agree with what you're saying, Mazdaf, about the idea of the original classical composers. And if you look at them, Bach was a fierce improviser. Bach was a fierce improviser. And that's the sound of a lot of it. We think of Bach pieces as being these finely crafted, every note was chosen perfectly sort of things. So was Chopin, exactly. And honestly, I think if we went back to that time period, he would have sat down and been like, and we're like, why did you choose that note? And he would be like, I don't know. I just felt like playing it. Now, some of the stuff, yes, he did write out and be very careful. I'm not saying that's all Bach, but it's a mixture. And again, what's to say that it can't be creative if you just sit there and you write it all out? It actually tends to make it quite challenging to be really creative and make something really cool. Schoenberg is some of the most creative music you can imagine. Talk to Bach. I'm pretty sure he improvised many of his fugues. Like, I'm not joking. Like, the dude, the historical record says he was a super genius. The output we have from him is a super genius. Here's another crazy one. Liszt. Liszt, there's a famous story of Liszt, and then I'll play this Brahms waltz. This is actually a good story because it's about Brahms. Brahms goes to Liszt, and he goes, hey, I've got my score for my first piano concerto. Can you just look it over for me, Liszt? He puts it in front of Liszt. He starts commentating about his piano concerto while he is playing the orchestra part and the piano part. You're talking full orchestra score with the piano part, and he's just jamming out. Like, the dude was a super freak. Super freak. So, anyway, creativity exists in any time period. We tend to be extremely ageist in the modern times because of the beauty of the internet. I think it just makes us feel like we're smarter than everybody else, but in reality, we just we have the benefit of all of those. Well, I don't think it's that people from back were built different. It's that they didn't have smartphones, and so my 9-year-old knows way more about the world than Bach ever did. My 9-year-old knows way more about the world than Mozart ever did. But that means that she's probably going to be more of a generalist than either of them were. And I think finding those absolute crazy specialists may get harder and harder as we continue forward, because why would you? Like, you can use technology to increase your output, and so you can make really compelling music and not have to work so hard. Bach's Chromatic Fantasy? Yeah, we can look at it. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. There's too much good conversation. Nice. Wow, why'd you have to put it so low? Wow, lots of accidentals. It's so funny how you can immediately know that this is not Chopin. Wow. Yeah, of course. Claire de Lune, sure. Boogie Woogie. Ooh, that'd be fun. We could talk through some Boogie Woogie. Let me pull up Claire de Lune, and then somebody also asked for... By the way, this is what I like. We got 30 people. AI composing skills. So there is actually a classical AI composer. So first of all, Suno is decent at pop music. Pop music is so incredibly formulaic that doesn't surprise me. I don't want to go on another rabbit hole, but AI is only really good if you really, really define the rules. Box chromatic fantasy. Classical does work, but it sort of sounds, both classical and jazz, when you tell AI to do it, if you squint and you don't really know how to sound it, you don't really know how jazz and classical actually sounds. It actually sounds pretty good. But then when you really pay attention, you're like, this is pretty bizarre. Anyone can write pop music? Can anyone write good pop music? That's actually the real question, and that is just as hard as writing other stuff. I would say to write pop music in a way that fools people into thinking it's okay is not that hard, but to write actually good pop music is incredibly hard. But it's the goal is to get the zeitgeist of the time, right? To grab the spirit of the time. So like, for example, Espresso was like 4 different already existing beats and tracks that were already on pay to grab, licensing programs. And so they grabbed that. But to put that on there, come up with the melody, and then have it represent the spirit of the times, that's a whole different thing. Funny story, I played Highway to Hell on Easter at a concert. Weird experience. Yes, I know about that, right. Stop believing. And then you got forever young. I want to be forever young. No one. They're all the same. Like, it would not surprise me. It would totally not surprise me if Bach just sat down and played like a version of this, like 80% the way it is. You mean this thing? Greek independence, that's awesome. Hiroki Murakami, I don't know any, but we'll just pick one. How about that? Hungarian dance! I have to look up the music if I was going to do that. You gotta love Bach. All right. That is totally a poem. I think I may have looked up the wrong one. The wrong person. Wait, hold on. Maybe. Maybe found something. This is a Japanese piano website. I'm seeing a lot of pieces. I don't see that name though. I'm looking it up. We may switch over to Claire de Lune for the time being. I'm not seeing it. Sorry. Root beer rag. Root beer rag. Do you like Wagner? Pick something. Oh, thank you. Bach was definitely a modernist in composition. Bach was just a super genius. Super genius. All right, we're going to do Claire de Lune. We're going to cut out of this soon, by the way. I got to get rolling soon. But we might be on a little bit later. This has been great. I really like the conversations. Hey, how you doing, Coffee Drawing? Of course, anytime. We could do one, we'll do one quick boogie woogie, and then I'll probably do an original, and then we'll get out of here. So here's the thing. That's a good question, Chopin enthusiast. I'm going to try not to get down a rabbit hole because I do want to finish this up soon. Music like this doesn't come out of a vacuum. He's referencing music around him that was happening. Then he's already written a bunch of crappy pieces that you've never heard before. And then he writes this, but when he first wrote this, it wasn't in the form that you're hearing it right now. I think we have this problem because of the Instagram, because of the TikTok, because of hundreds, thousands of years of human history that's all pre-recorded for us. We think of everything just emerging like, what was that baby? Athena, right? Popping out of Zeus's head or whatever, just perfectly formed, right? That's not how creativity works. Like one of my favorite examples is Chopin wrote basically like 21 nocturnes over 19 years. So you're talking that guy, I'm not saying every day, but he just sat there and just worked on them, right? Just worked on them. Written 1,000 bad songs. I'm proud of 2 of them. Yeah. Hey, same over here. I'm proud of a couple more than 2, but yes, I've written thousands of little doodads here and there and elsewhere. Can you play songs by ear? Yes, I absolutely can play songs by ear. I actually learn more stuff by ear these days than by reading, believe it or not. Especially for work. Especially what I used to do playing for like weddings and stuff. All right, let's do some boogie woogie. I've done this pattern a lot. So let's do a different boogie woogie pattern. How can you recommend learning to sight read? Hymns, and look one line at a time. Treat it like you are practicing. Like, you know how you practice scales? You practice a song. Practice sight reading. Try visualizing the staff on the keyboard on its side. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it. Here's another thing with sight reading. Try not to look at your hands. Really try not to look at your hands. Okay. We can do a breakdown of Boogie Woogie. Maybe I'll do a breakdown. I should probably do like each style as broken down at some point as a video idea. Maybe that's a little too intellectual. I want to see. Maybe I'll do. Do I not have my? Where's my song lyrics at? Okay. We're talking about Bosanka Artija. Yeah, I have a treat for you to play. Beethoven's third variation, the second movement is 32nd sonata. Well, right now I'm going to play an original of mine that I'm working on, writing and finishing, because we've been talking a lot about composition and about pop. So this is a pop composition of mine. The answer might be the same without. Try as hard as I could. I'm aware of the should. What the difference? Sorry, let's try this again. Should I change if I could without? What's the difference it makes if we all end up in chains? A friend that is never around isn't a friend at all. If I never pick up the phone, do I exist? Maybe that's the play. Played it in my head, worked out just fine. Have I heard this before? Well, you've been on my streams before. I've only played this like 3 times ever for people, and those all 3 times have been this. You've written one song and you're proud of it? Amazing, that's awesome. Am I always the one to call? Can it be you first? Rejection feels the worst. Pressure to get me just right. Never get it's right. Trying all of the time. A friend that is never around isn't a friend at all. When met with the silent approach, do I just sulk or just sulk in fear? Hurts to understand. What's the choice do I have? Oh yeah? Ugh? Ugh? What's the ugh about? What's the recipe for a pop song like this? We'll have to talk about it later. I managed to learn 2 grade 9 ABRSM pieces in 5 years. Are you cooked? No. Okay. Are you happy with your progress? If the answer is yes, you are should be studied, and you are a completely odd individual because I don't know anybody who's happy with their progress. Young a girl, I'm gonna be done for now. I may come back on later. We'll see. This is what I will say. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So what you really want to do is you want to think about what you're really trying to accomplish and how you might be able to adapt things. If you've been doing it for a long time, then yeah. Grade 9 is second to the last hardest. Yeah, we could do Superstition on a different one. Where can we check out? That track is not published yet. I need to actually record it. I've got like 4 different pet projects that keep getting pushed aside because my kids keep getting sick. So if you can just, send them. No, you can ask Quagsire. I think it was more that you were just sort of spamming a little bit, but it's all good. We're all chill. Anyway, we're getting out of here anyway. Yeah, grade 9 is up there. Grade 9 is, and here's the other thing to be aware of. The difficulty basically goes like this. Once you get to grade 9 or grade 10, most music is in that grade 9 or grade 10 in classical. But then the really, really hard stuff is super insane. So, all right, peace out, everybody. Check out the channel, like, subscribe, all that stuff. All right.